Hello, Jack. This is Ed Schmitz. I am going to spend a little bit of time here going over how to set up this course in CengageNOW so that you will know how to do this when you're doing it on your own. I hope you find this helpful. So let me get back to where... Oh, great. My internet's going really slowly today, so just be patient. This shouldn't take too terribly long. Okay, here we go. I'm in the Accounting for Managers course. Here's the section name. As you can see, I've already set up my welcome post. Here's all the Cengage information. And I want the Cengage, and I've got another tab up here. I'll go over there in a second. But I want it to mirror the grade book here in D2L. So going to the grade book, you can see there's columns for every assignment. There'll be there's not drop boxes for these because they're not actually submitting anything. But as you can see, in each week, each chapter is set up separately with its own points to that specific chapter. So in one, we have chapter 1 and chapter 2. In week 2, we have chapter 3 and 4. Some courses will do this differently. In week 1, they may just say Cengage homework, have one column for both chapters, and then you would combine them over in the CengageNOW. But we're going to do the chapters separately so that it mirrors the same way it's done here in D2L. So I have another tab here. I'll switch over. So here's the login page. Okay, so once it comes up, now I'm at Cengage Learning, the Instructor Resource Center. I've gone in here already. And I probably should have done this video before I did this, but I put in the name of our title of our book, searched and found it. So now that I've already accessed it, it brings it up. Here is a copy of what the text looks like that we're using for this. So because I've already set the course up now, I'm going to see my courses listed. Now this is where I would go in and find just resources, find the PowerPoint slides, find things like that. That the publisher has given to use, and students can't see this, just instructors. So, but because I'm concerned with how to set up course, I'm clicking on that, and it's going to load. So here's the home page for CengageNOW, and I want to go to courses. So click on that. Here are the list, and I only have the one. I've already started it. You could just click here and start a new one, but I've already started this one and set up part of it. So click there. Okay, so here is the basic information about the course. The name, the course number, and this mirrors the one in D2L. So it's the same course number so that students easily can identify this as their course and they recognize it. I choose to do it that way. I mean, you could use any number you want. It just makes sense to me to use the same one. You will notice here that the course start and end dates are not the same here in Cengage as they are over in D2L. And the reason being, whatever course starts on, it will not allow the students to view anything prior to that start date. Well, many times I get students who will have logged into D2L 3, 4, 5 days before the start date of the course, and they want to go get it all set up, get registered, and they can't do that if I put, they can't do that early if I put the official start date. So I usually put the date I'm creating it here, and I usually do that about a week before the course actually starts. And go ahead and put that date I'm creating it as the start date so that as soon as I put the key information out there, those students who want to come register immediately can and don't see an error, and it works. I also usually tack about 2 weeks onto the end because once that end date hits, students can't do anything. And a lot of times you're going to have students who are running behind. They want a couple extra days, and if you're feeling merciful and generous and kind, sometimes you will grant them an extra 2 or 3 days or an extra week. The problem is, once that date's passed, you can't go back and edit the course to extend it. So I go ahead and tack that on there so that if I want to give students that time, I can, and that it's easy. Yeah, I've just learned that from making the mistake of not doing it early on. Okay. Assignments. Click on that. Here are the assignments I've given them. You can see I make it available first day of class, so that if students want to work, here's week 1, here's week 2, 3, and 4, they can go ahead and see the assignments and start working on them early if they want to. I don't restrict the assignments to the week the course actually starts. I mean, you can. It just prevents the students from working ahead. And sometimes you get students who, you know, for business purposes at work are going to be out of town, so they want to work ahead, or they're just, you know, go-getters and they want to go out there and get started as early as possible. However, I do have the due dates that correspond to the end of week 1, the end of week 2, and I've got that one incorrect. I just noticed that should be week 3, or excuse me, the 3rd, because August 4th is the first day of week 3. So I am going to edit, not the assignment information, not the content, the options. There we go. So continue, and I'm gonna, let's see, where is due date? Due date is on here. I thought somewhere. Well, I don't see it. Okay, let me cancel. I'm going to edit. Let's do assignment information, see if it's there. Yes, there it is. Okay, due date. So the due date needs to be the 3rd, and it needs to be clear over here. You can't do, there we go, it needs to be 11, and they won't do 1 minute increments, they're 5, so 11:59 is the latest, and I know that cheats the students out of about 4 minutes, but we just can't help it. Okay, there we go. Chapters 1 and 2 from week 1 are due the 27th, chapters 3 and 4 from week 2. We want to go to now week 3, and during week 3, okay, we've assigned chapters 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to, let's see, where do I go here? I want to create an assignment. I'm going to add chapter 5. So click on Create, and I want it done as homework. I'm not setting it up as a test. I'm not doing it as a study tool or anything else. So homework, the default is what I want. So click Continue, and it allows you to give it a name. So I'm going to type chapter 5, and I'm going to make it available on the start date of the class. So I am leaving that start date for the assignment, so they can't start working on it before the class ends. I'm going to make it due the last day of week 3, so that is going to be August 10th. And I take the bar here and slide it all the way over for the time, for 11. There's the hours, here's the minutes, so it's 11:55. Click Done. So there's my available due date. I don't need that it's unavailable. Continue. Okay, here we go. Again, I'm not using the test bank. I want to use homework. So I'm going to click this little plus so I get a drop down. And what I like to use are the end chapter questions. You can use these other things. For this class, that's just what I like. When I click the drop down, I get every chapter. Well, I'm doing chapter 5, and I can click this just to see there's all kinds of cases, problems. I want it all. So I'm just going to click next to chapter 5, seeing it fills out everything, all the different types from chapter 5. So I'm going to click Continue. Now, that doesn't assign it, it just means those are the options I'm going to see. Okay, so now off this screen, we've already set this. I'm going to scroll down here, and you can filter all of these questions on a few things. You can filter on difficulty. I'm just going to get all of them. Then the way it's graded. Some of these questions in here, CengageNOW will grade automatically, and some of them you have to grade. Well, guess what? I really don't want to grade them. I want only the options where the computer grades it for me. Call me lazy, but it makes it easier. Then it has an option here where you can have algorithmic or non-algorithmic. What that means is non-algorithmic means every student gets the exact same question with the exact same answer. Algorithmic means students all get the same basic question, but student A gets it with a different number, so the solution is different. Okay, and those are the ones I want. That way they can't say, well, the answer to question 2 is 4. Well, it was for the first student. It may be 8 for the second student. So, but they're all asking the same basic question with the same concept. So I want only algorithmic that the computer will grade. Okay, and right now there are a whole bunch of questions under these various categories out there. I haven't clicked filter yet. I've just said what I want it to filter on. So when I click filter, the number of questions here is going to go down drastically. So click the filter, and then I have to scroll back down. Okay, so there's total of, out of 67, it's got it down to 7. 4 fill in the blank and 7 of these accounting type questions. So that's going to be 7 questions from that chapter. That's good. I wouldn't mind if there were a few more, but I can live with 7 questions. So I'm going to click continue. And here they all are. So I'm going to, here's the potential 7 questions. I haven't assigned them yet. If I just click here to get all of them and click include, all 7 get added. I could go through and view them all, look at them all, and decide which. I want all 7. So I'm going to then click continue. Okay, and here is the final page. Options here. How many times can the student take the question? I'm going to leave it unlimited. You can put once. They can take it 1 time. You could change it to any up to 10 that they could take it, and each time it, unlimited. If the student has to take it, if the student's going to spend the time to try it 20 times, I'm going to let them. That they're learning as they do that. Most students, if they don't get it right after the second attempt, very few will try it a third or a fourth. But if the student's willing, I'm going to give them the option. Now I'm going to click back over here because the next one, I don't care about prerequisites or printing, so I'm just going to leave that for the defaults. I'm worried about the grading. It defaults, remember we had 7 questions, it defaults to 1 point per question for a total of 7. I'm going to go back to my tab here for D2L, and D2L says it's worth 50. So I'm going to change this to 50 points. It will spread them evenly over the 7 questions. That way the points here are easily transferred back to D2L. I don't have to convert in my head, oh, out of 7 points, they've got 6 of them. 6 is what percent is 7 to get the percent of 50. I don't have to do that, and it gets to be a pain. Okay, only exact, that means the student has to get it exactly right. Close doesn't count. This isn't horseshoes. Late penalty, yes. I'm going to have it calculate and the default is 10%. That if they come do it after the due date, it's still available, but it's going to factor in a 10% penalty. I'm okay with that. But it lets them do it late if they want to, and then I don't have to worry about, well, when did they complete it, because I can't see. If I come in and look at this 3 days after the week ends to look at grades, and they just finished it 5 minutes before I can't see that based off date. of completion.